Crochet have some of the most interesting crochet kits I've ever seen. They make amigurumi kits that come with movable components, which means you can make everything from a dancing giraffe to a bubble-blowing pufferfish. And they sent me 3 of their kits to test out. I've got the bobblehead monkey, the egg-laying hen, and the wind-up tiger. Now, just because they sent me these kits for free doesn't mean I'm gonna go easy on them. My experiences up to now with crochet kits haven't been great, so I'm going to give you my completely honest opinions. And if by the end of the video you like what you see, there is a discount code down in the description that you can use over on their website. So let's jump straight in and start making the monkey. All right, here's what we've got in the kit. First up, we've got this card. On the back of here is a link to the written pattern as well as video tutorials to make this. Next up, we've got all of the yarn. We've got a few different colors, and it's this sort of plush yarn that is very popular at the moment. I've actually never used it before, so this will be interesting. We've got a crochet hook, we've got some stuffing, some more yarn. I think that's probably for the face details. And then we've got these bits here, which are the spring and the bits that go with it, because that is the movable component on this one. It has a spring, so it should sort of wobble backwards and forwards. We've then got this tube of glue, which I think is for a glue gun. I don't have a glue gun, so I'm just gonna have to use some other glue. And finally, we've got a yarn needle, some stitch markers, and some safety eyes. So let's just jump straight into it and get crocheting. So I've just pulled up the pattern and I'm already confused. That didn't take long. You can see here it says for the donut, we're gonna use green and beige, but then when it gets to the instructions, it doesn't tell me what color to start with. However, if I scroll down here, it says to switch to beige, so I guess I'm starting with green, but it would be nice to be told that. The only problem is the yarn labels don't have colors on them, so it could be one of these two. Not really sure which one. I'm guessing it's the lighter one, but then if I look at the picture of the finished product, the donut, which is the piece I'm making at the moment, is white. It doesn't seem to be beige at all. So let me have a look through the rest of the pattern and see if I can figure this out. Yeah, so the monkey is made with brown and skin color, which must be these two, which must mean that the donut is made in white. And the camera isn't playing tricks on you. This is white. This is the whitest white. There's no way anybody would ever call this beige. And this isn't the biggest problem, but the fact that I haven't even started and I'm already running into small problems is a bit concerning, but let's see how things go. I don't love the crochet hook that's been included in this kit. Can you see here on the neck where it gets wider? That's really annoying me because when I crochet, I tend to use pretty much all of the neck up to where the handle grip is, and because the neck gets wider, it's not allowing me to do that. If I compare it to my other 2mm hook, you can see it's quite a big difference. So this is actually slowing me down quite a lot, so I'm going to put that one to the side and I'm going to use my own crochet hook. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with this yarn. I hate working with it, but I love the way it feels. This is so soft. I can see why it is so popular. But yeah, the actual crocheting experience isn't that enjoyable just because this kind of yarn doesn't have great stitch definition. So it just makes it a little bit tricky to see where you're supposed to be putting your stitches. I had to redo the foundation chain in the first row a couple of times because I kept getting the wrong number of stitches. I also really struggle using a small hook when I'm making amigurumi. I don't know why that is. I've recently been working on a flat project with a 2mm hook and I have no problems, but there's something about working in the round that makes my arm hurt. But obviously that's nothing to do with the kit, that's just me. And other than that, the project itself is going pretty smoothly. I just finished the donut. I'm so surprised by how big this is. I genuinely thought this was going to be the same size as the picture. I thought the finished product was going to be like this. This is huge. But everything's gone really smoothly. The only thing I've changed is the glaze. It said to glue it down, but that just seemed really unnecessary, so I just sewed it down. But other than that, it's going really well. Oh no, there was another problem. I ran out of stuffing. I didn't have enough stuffing to even do this first piece, and I've still got to make the monkey and its legs. So that's a bit annoying. It's not the biggest problem because I craft a lot, so I have stuffing just lying around the house. But if you're someone who doesn't really make amigurumi and you ran out of stuffing halfway through the kit, that would be really annoying. So yeah, another small problem that I've run into, but I'm having loads of fun with this, to be honest. I don't really care. These are the eyes that are included in the kit and I don't like them. They require you to glue them in place, which is just so unnecessary when safety eyes exist. And I actually have some safety eyes which are more or less the same size, so I'm going to use them instead. And that's something that I am noticing about this kit. It seems to require a lot of gluing for no reason whatsoever. I've made lots of amigurumi in the past and I've never had to glue anything. And it particularly annoys me because although the kit includes the glue gun like cartridge, it obviously doesn't include a glue gun. And in my opinion, if you are selling a kit, the kit should include absolutely everything you need to make the finished product. And I've also looked ahead in the pattern, and the very last step is to add a bit of blush to the monkey's cheeks to make them pink. And of course, the kit doesn't include the blush. And I'm just now realizing that because my gauge is off and the monkey's head is much bigger, these eyes might look a bit odd because they're really small. But I'm just gonna have to roll with it and hope that it looks okay when it's done. I just went onto the website to double check what the size of this monkey is supposed to be, and it's saying 2.1 inches, and I can already tell you mine is much bigger, but let's just double check how much bigger. Yeah, coming in at about 5 inches. So over double the size of what it's meant to be, which would explain why I've run out of stuffing so quickly. So maybe I should revoke that criticism that I had earlier. This is probably my fault. I've just finished gluing all the pieces together and I'm weighing it down with this mug because it's going to take about 24 hours for the glue to set, and I've noticed a bit of a problem. The spring is quite a bit shorter than the donut, so I'm not actually sure if when I've secured the monkey's head in place that it's gonna wobble back and forth, and I'm not gonna be able to find out until tomorrow when the glue's dry. You know what? It's not looking too bad. I think there might be just enough room for the head to wobble back and forth, but I'm just tying these pieces together nice and tightly so that the glue can dry, and then tomorrow we'll see what it looks like. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this finished product. Apart from the size, which I'm going to talk about more in a moment, it turned out pretty good. Like, the head bobbles, the eyes don't look really weird, which is something I was worried about. You know, despite the hiccups and issues that I ran into, the complaints that I had, it actually turned out more or less how it's supposed to. Moving on to the next two kits, I think I am gonna have to be a bit more careful with my gauge though, because the pieces in these next two kits just aren't gonna work if my gauge is really far off. So I could go down a hook size, but I'm already using a 2mm, which is to me already really tiny. And I actually don't think I own a crochet hook smaller than 2mm, so I really want to avoid that. Instead, what I'm going to do is something that I probably should have been doing already, which is to use yarn under rather than yarn over. It's been so long since I made amigurumi that I completely forgot that that's kind of what you're supposed to do. So let's jump into the hen next and see what happens with that kit. The instructions for the beginning few rounds of the chicken aren't very clear. It took me a little while to figure out what they wanted me to do. It's also really fiddly and I'm still not enjoying working with this yarn. As soft as it might be, it's a pain. I just keep messing up my stitch counts because it's so hard to see what stitches you're supposed to be working into. What is K supposed to be an abbreviation for? I've never seen that in a crochet pattern before, and it's not included in the abbreviation list at the start of the pattern, so I'm just trying to figure out what that is. Ooh, is it meant to be skip? And the abbreviation is supposed to be SK, but there's a typo? I think that would make the most sense. I think it's pretty fair to assume these patterns haven't been tech edited and probably not even pattern tested. Yeah, it's definitely supposed to be skip because then that creates the hole where the egg comes out. I'm at the point now where I need to add the bubble, and I realize I've definitely made a mistake. This part up here is the head of the chicken. Based on their photos, this is supposed to be closed, and mine isn't. It's not the end of the world. In fact, it might actually work in my favor because just like with the monkey, the eyes for this kit are glue-on eyes, but I'd rather use my own safety eyes. And I think having this bit open is probably going to make that easier. So just a happy little accident. Now it's time for the fun bit, putting the egg part in. That actually took me ages to get that in. I think I might have gone too far in the opposite direction with my gauge and it's slightly too tight now, but I think it should be okay. All of these tiny little face details are so fiddly to do. I'm not having a lot of fun with them. This tail part is really confusing me. The pattern does recommend watching the video tutorial though, which I had completely forgotten was a thing. I could have been watching this all along for all the parts I've been stuck on, but I'm going to check it out now and see if it's going to make things a little bit clearer. It's fair to say I'm a bit underwhelmed by that video. I was expecting a video where someone was talking through every step of the pattern, really breaking it down and just making it as easy as possible, and that is not what I got. It was a video of just somebody's hands making the item, no talking, just some background music, and the row instructions of the pattern written on the screen. And don't get me wrong, it helped me, like I figured out what I need to do, but when I see that a kit includes video tutorials, I just expect a bit more than that. So that was kind of disappointing, but I've only got like one more step to finish on the hen, and then I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Once again, I'm pretty happy with how the item has actually turned out. It works as intended. It looks great from the side. It doesn't look so great face on. It's a bit wonky. The color changes aren't great, and like I could have done a better job with them. There are ways to do color changes so that they're kind of invisible, but in my defense, the pattern didn't tell me to. And the other reason that I didn't bother trying to hide them is because I thought that the color changes were going to be on the back and then they'd be hidden by the tail. Obviously not the case, but I'm still really happy with this. Moving on to the next kit, I think it's going to kind of be the same thing as the last two. There's going to be problems, there's going to be minor issues, but overall I think I'm going to end up with a product that I quite like. Let's see if that's going to be the case. So once again, I've not even started the pattern and I'm already running into a problem. It's telling me to use orange yarn. I don't actually have any orange yarn in my kit. I have yellow, red, and white. And at first I thought like I just had yarn missing from my kit, but after looking at the product page on their website, there is a photo of everything that's included in the kit, and there's no orange yarn on there either. So I think that they've actually made the tiger in yellow and then edited the photo on the kit here to make it look orange, which is a weird choice. And obviously, like, it's not the end of the world, but if the pattern says use orange yarn, I'd expect that to be orange yarn. And this isn't like, oh, it's orangey yellow. This is like completely yellow. So I guess I'm making a yellow tiger. All right, moment of truth. Let's see if this wind-up piece fits inside the bit that I've made. It looks like it will. Oh yeah, that is pretty much perfect. Really given you many updates whilst I've been working on the tiger because in all honesty it's been going really smooth. I've not had any complaints and it is almost done now. I'm just seaming on these last little pieces and then I've got to figure out the eyes and all the other face details and I'll be finished. With the previous two kits, I was able to avoid most of the gluing, but that's not going to be possible with this one. I could have used the safety eyes, but I don't have an alternative to the plastic nose that they've included or these cheek pieces. So let's just see how gluing goes. I did get some PVA glue because the other glue I was using for the monkey, I don't know if I showed you, but it dries this yellowy color, which I clearly don't want all over the tiger's face. Okay, I should have just got a glue gun. Using this glue is an absolute nightmare. Just when I think I've got it stuck on, it falls off. I'm also just getting glue absolutely everywhere. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna get this to work. So I did manage to get the eyes glued on, but just as I was sewing on these last little face details, I knocked the eyes off in the process, and I cannot for the life of me find one of them. There is also supposed to be a line here with black yarn, but my kit actually didn't include black yarn, and even if it did, I wouldn't be using it because I don't want to risk knocking off these bits too. I'm gonna grab some black yarn and embroider the eyes on, and then I'm gonna call it a day because I'm sick of fiddling around with this tiger's face. Out of the three kits, I think that the tiger's probably my least favorite, which is quite interesting because it's the one I've had the fewest issues with. Like I said, the whole process was quite smooth. There was nothing in the pattern that was particularly confusing apart from the yarn color. I think my main issue is with the amount of gluing. I don't want to glue amigurumi. Let me seam it together. Don't get me wrong, it works as it should. It turned out okay. I don't love the fact that it's yellow. It's a tiger. It doesn't look like a tiger. It's looking more, I don't know, bear? Or yellow cat. And the thing is, they clearly have orange yarn because the feet of the hen are orange, so I don't really know why they'd choose to go for yellow. But at the end of the day, the tiger did more or less turn out how it's supposed to. I just prefer the hen and the monkey. All right, now that I'm finished with all 3 of these kits, I'm gonna give you my overall thoughts on my experience, starting with the bad. These patterns are far from perfect and they would benefit drastically from some tech editing. And with these kits being as popular as they are, I think it's fair to say that Hi Crochet can afford a tech editor. There's really no excuse for there to be this many errors in the patterns. I also don't love the fact that the product photos that they're using on their website and on the front of the kits don't necessarily reflect what you can make with the items in the kit. Let me explain that. So the monkey, for example, has this blush on its cheek, but the kit itself doesn't actually include blush. And I just think that's a really odd choice. I think it's perfectly fine for the pattern to say, you know, you can add some blush to the monkey's cheeks as an optional extra, but I don't think that that should be in the photos that they're using to advertise the product. All right, moving on to the good. I still stand by what I said at the start of the video. Hi Crochet are making some of the most interesting crochet kits I've ever seen. They appeal to somebody like me who has very little interest in making amigurumi because they are just so different. Like I said earlier, I want a whole collection of these bubble animals. And I'd also really like to try one of the singing and dancing kits, maybe the giraffe or the cactus. They also have the option on the website to buy the individual pieces, like just the bubble bit or just the wind up bit, so that you can make your own product so you don't have to follow the patterns, which I quite like the idea of. I'm very tempted. I've seen that they've got this new one, which is like a thing that you squeeze and a tongue pops out. Looks really fun. And as for the price of these kits, I think they're quite reasonable. When you take into account all the pieces you get and the pattern, I would certainly have no problem paying these prices. And just for reference, the monkey kit is £16, which is about $21. That's not bad at all, and it's even better if you use my discount code, which I'll be linking in the description and in the pinned comments, so check that out if you are thinking about buying one of these kits. The kits do have their issues, but I am far from disappointed with what I've made, and I think I'll be making more in the future. I already have some that I've added to my basket already, but I'd love to hear what you think. Will you be trying the kits? Have you already tried them? And if you did, which ones did you make? And what was your experience like? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know if your thoughts align with mine. But thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.